Forge National Park is located on America's East Coast. It is close to Philadelphia, about 30 minutes by car. It's about 2 hours from New York City. The best way to get to Valley Forge National Park is by car because a lot of the park is very large and you need a car to get around. There is a bus that goes there and you can hike and bike along the entire length of the park, but driving is usually the most convenient.
Hey everyone, so where we are today is Valley Forge National Historic Park. So if you're not familiar with what Valley Forge is, briefly, it is the winter encampment of the American Colonial Army during the Revolutionary War. So the city of Philadelphia, which is about 20 miles away, was occupied by the British in the 1770s, and during that time, Washington and his army stayed here. So this was the encampment site. This is where they wintered, right? So this is where they trained. This is where they kind of fueled up. This is where they did all of that while they were waiting to fight the British once the winter subsided, right? So there are a lot of interesting sites in here. The first place I recommend you go is the Visitor Center, which is right behind us. There you can pick up an audio tour. There's a free one that is a little less intricate, and then there's a more intricate one that you pay a little bit for, and then you can play it in your car. So what you do is you basically drive. You could walk too, but it's a very large area, so it's better to drive along each distance, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you along the entire Valley Forge, and I'm going to explain what everything is at every point. But what I recommend you do first is stop into the Visitor Center. There's a small museum, and it teaches you all about the area and what this place means and its significance to American history. So check that out first. We're going to head in now, and then we'll continue along and drive along the entire length. Okay, guys? Let's head in. Okay, so we just left the Visitor Center. So the first site is actually walking distance from the Visitor Center. So we're going to walk there. As you can see in the Visitor Center, you can learn all about the history of everything, kind of get acquainted before you start your tour. And also you talk to a park ranger in there because they'll give you a bunch of information on how to best navigate Valley Forge. They're very helpful, and they give you a lot of tidbits about how to kind of get around the best and some history about it. Okay guys, let's go. Our first stop. One thing to note that I didn't mention before is this is an incredible place to bring your dog. I brought my dog, and you can just hike the whole grounds, and it's very dog friendly. I mean, you can't go in the buildings, but you can take the dog all around. So if you want to bring your dog for a nice walk, check it out. I mean, there's dogs here. I could see like 5-10 of them right in front of me. So where we are now is it's called the City of Huts. So if you look around here, you can see we're going to go into them. Basically, what these are remaining log cabins that the Continental Army stayed at during their stay here at Valley Forge encampment, right? So they're basically small huts. You could fit maybe, well, they fit more than we would, right? We're gonna go and you can see all the beds. They had like 8 men living in here, right? So to our standards, they're a little bit, drab, but in 18th century America, these were actually not that bad. They had heating, right? They each had a fireplace, and they were built with logs and mud to keep out the elements. So it actually was not terrible compared to a lot of conditions that existed back then. So this is basically where the Continental Army camped, right? So they lived in these kind of huts that you see around me. Now, the only thing is, right now there's like 7, 8, 9 of them, but back in the day, there was 2,000 of them, right? 2,000, and they went all along this field here. So take a look here. This is the field. And these are the huts. So if you could imagine, all of these huts went as far as you could see. You know, we have like 10 here, but there was 2,000 of them. So take a look inside them now. So one very important aspect of any kind of military encampment is a place for soldiers to train. So what I'm about to show you, this is actually the place where soldiers from all the states, the 13 original colonies, trained. So this is called the Grand Parade, and it's basically a valley, and this is where George Washington and all the Revolutionary War Continental Army troops trained, right? So they learned military tactics, they learned how to shoot guns, they learned how to sword fight, they learned how to be exposed to the elements and survive. So this is it right here. It's very interesting to see. I mean, it's just a large valley, but if you can kind of use your imagination, you can see kind of where they would train, and it's pretty inspirational. Take a look. Okay, so where we're about to go is a fort. So this fort was used to monitor Philadelphia, right? So they can kind of see if there's any British forces arriving from Philadelphia. So this basically is an earthen fort, so it's built up, and then it has cannons all around it. So it basically serves as a lookout because it's a high ground. So take a look at this, guys. Okay, the next site is called the National Memorial Arch at Valley Forge, and what this is it's an arch commemorating George Washington, and it was built in 1917. And basically what it is to commemorate the Revolutionary War and the Continental Army's encampment here at Valley Forge. Another interesting thing about it is this is the highest point at Valley Forge, and it's kind of symbolic because this is the point where the Continental Army marched in right before they began camping here. So this is kind of like the entrance to the valley and the beginning of the encampment. guys remember the soldiers' quarters at the beginning of the video with the little huts, right? Now we're going to take a look at the officers' quarters. So as you can see, there are a lot more lavished than the soldiers' quarters. I mean, they're officers, right? So we're going to take a look through this section, and we're going to get some images of where the officers lived while they were here at Valley Forge. Okay, now to finish off your complete Valley Forge historical tour, I'd recommend coming here to the Black Powder Tavern. So this tavern was built in 1746, so it is older than the United States, right? So it's a colonial pub, and has all old style, you know, restaurants and seating, but it, you know, it's pretty modern too. I mean, you can get lots of good, like, old hearty pub fare. So let's head in now. Okay guys, so where we are now is George Washington's headquarters. So this basically is the residence and office of George Washington while he was stationed here at Valley Forge. So what's interesting about this section is there's two parts of it. So first thing I'm going to show you is the Commander-in-Chief's guard, right? So this is some encampments like the wood ones from before, right? But this is for George Washington's personal security. So we're going to see that first. Then right after that, we're going to see his headquarters and residence. And what's so interesting about it is it really serves as a pivotal piece of American history, because if you think about it, this was a place of halt with the fighting with the British, right? Because it was during the winter. So in this building, Washington and his militia actually created the strategy to overtake the British and eventually create independence for the United States of America. So it's a very pivotal piece of American history. You know, this one building we're gonna see. So let's take a look, guys. Artillery Park. So the Artillery Park is a strategic location within Valley Forge that offered the Colonial Army a huge view across the valley. So basically what they did here was, this is where they stored all the cannon and artillery, and there was kind of a lookout, right? So they watched from here to see if a British attack was coming. So this served as kind of a lookout point and a protection for the entire fort and the entire encampment. So let's take a look. Alright guys, so where we are now is the Washington Memorial Chapel. So this chapel is not from the colonial times, it's from the early 1900s, and it was built to commemorate George Washington and his contribution to Valley Forge in this area of Pennsylvania. It's an active Episcopal church, so it has masses, and it's a beautiful commemoration to Washington's duty here and his eventual becoming our first leader of the United States. So let's take a look. Guys, there you have it. That was the tour of Valley Forge National Historic Park. I had a wonderful time showing it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. If you have any questions at all, leave me a comment below and I answer almost any question I get. Make sure you like and share this video. Make sure you subscribe if you like this kind of content. Also, check out the link below. We have a bunch of interesting stuff you can buy about Valley Forge and the surrounding Pennsylvania area. So guys, until next time, take care.